It's a great day, sports world. What's up to all the sports lovers, haters, addicts, and fanatics out there? This is Larry Patterson coming to you for GT365. That's Game Time 365 Sports, live here on the GTSN. That's the Game Time Sports Network. And today you're watching 32 teams in 32 days, the Denver Broncos edition. This team started out 1-3 last year, ending the season on a 5-11 note. Not good. The fifth consecutive season of not making the postseason, and the fourth consecutive season being finishing under 500. This team hasn't done that since after the 2005 season when they went to the conference championship. I believe that was the Jake Plummer year. After that, 5 consecutive seasons of losing. That gave us an opportunity to get Von Miller in 2011, and then after that it was playoffs. That started like it was the Tebow era. That was the Kyle Orton Tebow era for that little season, and then that was 2012, 2011, and then after that. You had consecutive seasons. We got Peyton Manning out of free agency. After that, for playoffs, and then we're back at square one. I think it was probably a little karma coming off that, but hey, we're all right, man. So this is the 5th consecutive year that this team has not made the playoffs. A lot of questionable draft picks over the years. A lot of questionable free agent signings over the years. Just a lot of questions within it. When you could have took other guys, you could have not signed a couple players. But you know what? Hey, it's all good. It's a new season. Seems like a brand new team, brand new GM. So we'll see what happens. Elway stepped down as with the GM job, and I mean he's stepping into a higher role, which doesn't require him to, still has some kind of say, probably has the final say or whatever, but he's kind of letting GM George Payton, who they got over from the Vikings, kind of handle everything. Now with George Payton and his moves that he made, he signed Teddy Bridgewater, Mike Boone, which is former players from over there in Minnesota. He also got Shamar Stevens from over there, Kyle Fuller, who we needed, and the Bears had let him go. But we were looking at Kyle Fuller for a while. The Bears let him go, and instantly we trounced on him due to Vic Fangio and his system. Kyle Fuller was definitely familiar with it. He had some of his best career years in that system. And then you bring Ronald Darby over, who had a pretty decent season over at Washington last year. And Ronald Darby has always been a pretty solid cornerback. So you take guys out like Philip Lindsay. A lot of fans in Bronco country was pretty upset about the move. Me, I wasn't, because although Philip Lindsay is very fast, he's shifty, he just seemed very one-dimensional. Not a good catcher of the ball, not a good route runner. So I mean, you kind of want a two-dimensional back instead of a one-dimensional. Philip Lindsay also kind of had a tendency to run into you or run at you versus try to make you miss or whatnot. So and I mean, I like Philip Lindsay, but although there is better out there, and a lot of fans were mad about that. But you know what? Hey, it is what it is. Royce Freeman, that was a move right there that I did not like. I kind of like Royce Freeman. Royce Freeman came in the rookie year, and he had his fair share of carries and whatnot. And another thing I like about Royce Freeman is a good catcher of the ball, and he's good down in the red zone. So just the opportunities, he just didn't really take a good advantage of it. I mean, he was solid, but like Philip Lindsay, I guess they felt like it was a lot better. And I think with some of the guys that they bring in, I think that they were a little bit better. Nick Van Nett, Jeremiah Tachu, AJ Bouye came over for a year. Was not the AJ Bouye that we had accustomed to seeing. He was pretty solid in his recent years before coming over to Denver, but it seemed like it just did not work. And then DeMarcus Walker, who was a depth player for the Broncos for years, for about maybe 4 years, out of Florida State. So then in the past, this team was ranked 26th. So not a good passing team, not a good offensive team. Putting up 3,451 yards. That gave you 26th in the league. In the run, they were ranked 13th. So a little bit better. And since Mike Munchak, the offensive line coach, came over, the offensive line has definitely been operating better. Hence, Garrett Bowles. And Garrett Bowles came in, I think it was 2017. And since he came in, he was one of the offensive linemen that was always holding, always false starts. Like it was a terrible pick. We could have picked Ryan Ramczyk, but nah, we just had to go with Garrett Bowles. So you go through that whole experiment. You fix him up. All of a sudden, Garrett Bowles becomes a Pro Bowler, all pro left tackle, and I hope that continues to stay that way. He signed a big contract last year. I'm hoping that trend continues instead of you getting the money and then you going back to what you were. So that's a big question. Garrett Bowles is definitely one of my players I'm watching this year. But like I said, going back into the run game, they were ranked 13th, putting up 1,918 yards. So they got a lot better versus recent years. Third downs, they were ranked 26th. Fourth downs, they were ranked 32nd. And in the red zone, they were ranked 27th. So all across the board, man, this offense has just not been a good offensive unit since Peyton Manning left. Since then, I think there would have been like maybe 8 quarterbacks at the starting position. I want to say Trevor Siemian. I want to say Paxton Lynch, Case Keenum, a few others. There's been other starting quarterbacks, even if quarterbacks came in for a game or two. I know Brett Rippon came. I know it was a couple others, man. But we're going to go into the offense right now. And Teddy Bridgewater, one of the newest quarterbacks that we have. He's a vet going to his 8th year. In 2019, when he filled in for Drew Brees, he went 5-0. He was 133 for 196 in those games. He passed for over 1,384 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He had a 67 completion percentage. Last year, when he was with the Panthers, because remember, he could have had signed with Miami to be the starting quarterback, but he chose to stay in New Orleans to learn from Drew Brees and get soaking all the knowledge that he could. And it was a smart move. It wasn't so much of a smart move to sign with Carolina because he did kind of terrible over there. And his numbers from over there, he was 4-11 as a starter, 390 attempts for 492 attempts. He completed 390 passes, 3,733 yards, 15 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. And he completed 69% of his passes. However, it was not good. And they got him up out of there. I believe we traded for him, but it was one of those low round picks. So that's what you're working with out of Teddy. Now the thing about Teddy is Teddy's not going to give you the big arm. He's going to give you the short intermediate, the underneath stuff. And I mean, you can get away with that as long as your run game is good. He can give you some mid range stuff. And as long as your defense is efficient, and as long as you have a good run game, I think you should be okay. Um, and that's one thing that this team has been lacking on, is always relying on the defense. This team has relied on the defense since the Super Bowl year. And any real Bronco fan can tell you that it's freaking nerve wracking how awful this offense is. Um, ranking in the low, ranking in the bottom 20s, uh, uh, only putting up maybe 16 to 20 points a game. That's not going to get it done in a division where you got the Chiefs and you got the Chargers and you got the Raiders also, who has a pretty great offense. Their defense just holding them back. But we have a defense, but to always rely on your defense, for the offense to not go out there and put up any points or capitalize on any drives or anything like that, a lot of 3-and-outs, your defense is going to get tired, which allows the other offense to go out there and just put up points. So in the past 5 years, past 6 years, we have not been a good offensive team. That's just what it is. Drew Lock, we drafted in 2020, I think it was 2019. He did not play most of that season. I believe Case Keenum was the guy, I want to say. He went 4-1 as a starter in those 5 games. He went 100 for 156, 1,020 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. And I was even avid for Drew Lock, saying that hey, this kid could be really something special. And one thing I like about Drew Lock is he gives you that big play ability. He gives you that big arm. You know what I'm saying? He's great on the rollout. The play action and the bootleg. But what he's not good at is pocket awareness. He has a tendency of forcing the ball out when no one's really around him. Now I can say that the offensive line has not been all peachy, and that, hey, I give him that. But Drew's also made some terrible throws, putting the team just in a lot of bad situations. So I mean, I would like to predict that Drew makes a couple starts this year. I would like to see him have a couple starts this year before they, just say we're done with him, to give him another chance. But at the same time, I think that we've had enough. At the same time, in this NFL today, like the production, the production of a young starting quarterback, you give him a window, and that window used to be 3 to 5 years, but now that window is like maybe 3 to 5 minutes. You're not really giving quarterbacks too much of a time to develop. And this is a win now league. Everybody wants to win, and that's totally understandable. I wish Drew Lock had been a lot better, but it's just, he got potential, and hence some games like the New England game last year, Drew played very conservative. I don't think he turned the ball over. There was a couple plays that he missed out on. There was a couple plays where receivers dropped the ball. That's not his fault. But hey, man, Teddy Bridgewater is the starting quarterback, and we'll see how that goes. I like the idea of the veteran leadership going in, because he is going into his 8th year. So I like the idea of the veteran coming in. You got a defense that's riding on you, and then you got a run game that's really about to pick up. So you take advantage of those opportunities, and you could be very spotless this year. He's been in the league for a minute. He's learned a lot of things. So, hey, I'm not counting Teddy out either, but we'll see. Brett Rippon is the third. quarterback. He's going into year number 2. As far as the running backs, you got Melvin Gordon. Um, you got Melvin Gordon, and with Melvin Gordon, who is a former Charger, I like Melvin Gordon. I always have Melvin Gordon's a good route runner. He can catch, and that's one of the things that kind of got him the starting job. Where he already signed a 2-year $8 million deal, which I think he was kind of overpaid on that. But he produced. He really did. Going through his years in 2015. He was drafted. He played 14 to 12 games. He had 184 carries, 641 yards. He one good thing about him, I love it, is he can catch. He had 37 targets, 33 catches for 192 yards. In 2016, he played 13 games. He started 11, 254 carries, 697 yards, and 10 touchdowns. He had 6 fumbles in 2015, his rookie year. He had 2 fumbles in 2016. In 2017, he played all 16 games, 284 carries, 1,105 yards, 8 touchdowns. He had 83 targets, 58 catches, 476 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He had a fumble. In 2016, he also had 57 targets, 41 catches, and 419 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I missed out on that. I just wanted to run that back. In 2018, he played 12 of 12. He played 12 games. 175 carries, 885 yards, 10 touchdowns, 1 fumble. He also had 66 targets, 50 catches, 490 yards, and 4 touchdowns. 2019, he played 12 games. He started 11, 162 carries, 912 yards, 8 touchdowns, 55 targets, 42 catches, 296 yards, 1 touchdown. He had 4 fumbles. And last year, he played 15 games. He started 10, 215 carries, 986 yards, 9 touchdowns. He was targeted 44 times, 32 receptions, 158 yards, and 1 touchdown. He also fumbled the ball 4 times. I love Melvin Gordon for his athletic ability, the fact that he can run, the fact that he can make you miss, the fact that he can catch, the fact that he can run routes. One thing I don't like about Melvin Gordon is his fumbling ability. He will fumble the ball. Hence, one game last year we played in Miami, and we were up, and the game was pretty much done. And Drew made a pass to Melvin Gordon, and then Melvin caught it, and he was on his way to the end zone. But he's not a good protector of the ball, so somebody came in and just punched the ball out right at the goal line. That led to Ryan Fitzpatrick just going down the field. Now, your defense really just got off the field, so they already tired. The game is in Mile High, so the air is kind of thin up there. That it's stuff like that. It's things like that put your team in a bad position to be fumbling the ball at that time. And Ryan Fitzpatrick was definitely in range to win the game. Could have won the game. So that's one thing I don't like about Melvin Gordon is his fumbles. He's kind of careless of the ball at times. Javonte Williams, who's a rookie, he had 157 carries, 1,140 yards, 19 touchdowns. 19 touchdowns as a rookie. And, I mean, not as a rookie, as a college player last year. That's amazing. And I hope he brings all of that to Denver. He had 7.3 yards per carry. So I think the year before he had 166 carries, 933 yards, 5 touchdowns, averaged 5.6 yards per carry. That was the year before. So, man, I'm excited to see what Javonte Williams can bring. Nate McCrary is a fullback. Adrian Killings, Demario Crockett, Mike Boone, who they bought over for special teams purposes, but he's injured right now with a quad. I looked at some film on Mike Boone when we did take him, And I'm like, yo, dude's kind of shifty. He's fast. And hopefully he'll bring that when he gets back, whether it's special teams or whether it's whether we need him as a third down back or something like that, or if somebody goes out. So wide receiver position, Cortland Sutton is back. He played one game last year. He only had 6 targets, 3 catches, 66 yards. In 2019 was a very big year for him. Played 16 games. He started 14. He had 124 targets, 72 catches, 1,112 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That was the year that I'm like, yo, Cortland Sutton was like one of my favorite wide receivers coming in. He played a year prior to that, but in his second year, he just blossomed, man. Go up and get it, guy. It just seemed like, you throw it up, he's going to out-jump your defender. And that's one thing I like about Cortland Sutton. Hopefully that he's just coming off an ACL injury. So hopefully this year, man, my man can be back to form. He was up and down in camp. So, man, we'll see, man. Tim Patrick, who I thought was a trade candidate. He had played 15 games last year, 79 targets, 51 catches, 742 yards, 6 touchdowns. Always a guy that when you're throwing him the ball, he seems to catch it. And his yak is good. That yards after the catch, man, I love Tim Patrick, man. Jerry Jeudy played 16 games. He started 14. He had 113 targets, 52 catches, 856 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 10 drops on the season. And that's one thing I hope that Jerry Jeudy can eliminate is the drops. He had some easy drops last year. Very nerve-wracking, especially when your offense is already poor. But in training camp and preseason, man, my guy has been doing pretty well. So we'll see how that goes. KJ Hamler is currently on IR right now with COVID. 56 targets, 30 catches, 381 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Nice little speedster. The one thing about him I don't like is his hamstring injuries. Kind of nerve-wracking, but you're gonna get that out of receivers like that. I hint what Denver's trying to do as far as like the speed, and I just hope that we can kind of nail on that. Deshaun Hamilton going to year number 4. I don't know why he's still on the team, but hey, Tyree Cleveland going into year number 2. He's had some struggles. Kendall Hinton's on the practice squad. Remember in the game last year when there were no other quarterbacks on the squad because everybody went into a COVID situation, and he was like the only former quarterback on the team who kind of knew how to play quarterback. But when you played in that game against the Saints, he looked terrible. He was only 1 for 9 for 13 yards. And the only other quarterback option that we had on the team was like somebody in the athletic department, and he hadn't played football in like a number of years. So it was really, really sad last year as far as that. Seth Williams is another receiver that's on the practice squad out of Auburn. I really like him. Seems like a good red zone threat, and should any of these other receivers go out, he might get some opportunities. I hope he takes good advantage of those opportunities also. And then you got Deontay Spencer, who's probably going to be used a lot as far as punt returns, kick returns. Kick returns, he had 15 returns for 281 yards. And on the punt returns, he had 16 punt returns, 253 yards, 1 touchdown. So I definitely like Deontay Spencer. Shows a lot of speed. They traded Trinity Benson to the Lions. Trinity Benson was a receiver that in a crowded wide receiver room, he wasn't going to get that many opportunities. So why keep him on the team and put him in a better position to compete and get his stats up. So with Detroit gets another receiving option. Speedster. He showed his tail off in the preseason, so that's one thing that kind of got him where he is. So congrats to him. Tight ends, you got Andrew Beck going to year number 3, Sean Byer, who's a rookie, Noah Fant going to year number 3, Albert Okwuegbunam played 4 games last year. He was targeted 15 times, 11 receptions, 121 yards, 1 touchdown. I think he got hurt in the Atlanta game. Big tight end, big threat, and then he definitely can go up and get it. He's definitely can be used well in the red zone situations. Him and Noah Fant, I would like to see be a top 10 tight end unit. Noah Fant as well. I like Noah Fant also. So maybe those the tight end situation can be pretty good. I got Noah Fant's numbers right here once I get to it. Noah Fant was right here. Mr. Fant, 62 catches. He was targeted 93 times, 62 catches, 673 yards, 3 touchdowns. In the year before, he had 562 yards off 40 catches. I think Noah Fant's going to have a pretty big year as long as the ball comes to him. I think he's going to have a pretty big year. As far as the offensive line, Lloyd Cushenberry, who came on the scene a little late last year. Remember, there was no training camp or anything like that, so basically you had to operate off trust. But Cushenberry had a 47 pass protection, a pass block grade, and a 37 run grade. And he's, from what I hear, he's been doing pretty good in preseason, doing a lot better. So we'll see. Brett Jones was a player that we picked up from where I do not remember at this point, but he had a 76 pass block grade, a 73 run block grade. Graham Glasgow, who we got last year, had a 65 pass and a 68 run block grade. Quinn Myers, who's a rookie. Nateem Muti, who had a 15 pass block grade and a 47 run block grade. He's going into year number 2. He is like strong as shit. But his development, hopefully Mike Munchak can help him with that. Dalton Reisner, who had a 69 pass block grade and a 53 run block grade. Austin Slotman going to year number 3. Calvin Anderson, who had a 60 pass block grade, 47 run block. He's also going to year number 3. Quinn Bailey, who's going into year number 2. Garrett Bowles, one of my players to watch, who had a 90.6 PFF grade, 88 in the pass, 88 in the run. I'm hoping that continues. I'm hoping we don't see below 60s, 50 Garrett Bowles. I hope we continue to see Garrett Bowles thrive and be one of the best left tackles in this league. Because the first 4 years, the first 3 years were trash. Cody Conway going into year number 2. Cameron Fleming coming in. He had a 56 pass and a 62 run. Drew Himmelman, who's a rookie, and Bobby Massey going into year number 10, who had a 70 pass grade and a 64 run grade. These are not flashy offensive linemen. It's more, I think we got a lot of tackles due to depth because of the injuries and all that. But we will see. We will see. So that's your offense. Teddy seems to be the guy. We'll see. As far as defensive side of the ball, this team was ranked 16th, giving up 3,807 yards. In the run, they were ranked 20th, giving up 2,080 yards. On third downs, they were ranked 15th. On fourth downs, they were ranked 12th. And in the red zone, they were ranked first. So the best run defense in this league, the best red zone defense in this league. That's definitely a feat that I like right there. As far as the defense, Shelby Harris leads the defensive line defensive ends My man had 17 pressures, 32 tackles last year. A leader in the league for the past few years as far as pass deflects at the line. He will bat your pass down, and that's one thing I like about him. He had 9 in 2019. He had 7 last year. So if you're passing him the ball, if you're passing the ball and he's in that rear and he's in your view, he's very good at throwing his hands up and blocking that pass. That's one of the things I love about Shelby Harris. Not a household name, but that's a good thing because he probably will be better this year. Draymond Jones, who I believe he might be going to a contract year. This is third year. No, next year would be a contract year for him. So he played 13 games. He started 8. He had 6.5 sacks, 41 tackles. I definitely like Draymond Jones out of Ohio State. He'll definitely improve this year. Marquise Spencer, who had 7 sacks in his career at Mississippi State. And then McTelvin Agene, who had 8 tackles. I think he will improve this year also, going into year number 2. Mike Purcell, 2019, he played 13 games. He started 7. He had 48 tackles. In 2020, he was limited. He only played 6 games, 15 tackles. He's going into year number 6. A big body to plug up that hole and stop the run. I like him. Shamar Stephen coming over from Minnesota. He played 16 games last year. He had 34 tackles going into year number 8. Deshaun Williams, another name that's not household. He's going into year number 3. 37 tackles and 2 sacks. Last year, he played 14 games. He started 11. As far as your linebackers, Baron Browning going into his rookie year. He had 7 sacks in his college career. Bradley Chubb. He had 34 pressures and 35 blitzes last year. He played 14 games, 7.5 sacks and 42 tackles going into year number 4. I hear he's recently been detained. I don't know if he's been let go yet, but something about I think it was a traffic violation or something like that happened. Either way, he was detained. I hope he gets to play Sunday because this is BS. But then again, I wasn't there. I didn't know. So, we'll let the powers that be handle that situation. Jonathan Cooper going into his rookie year, who was a stud in the preseason, just all over the field. I love Jonathan Cooper, and I hope he transitions well. Josie Jewell played 16 games last year, had 113 tackles, 2 sacks. Going to year number 4, the only thing I don't really like about Josie Jewell is he does not cover. When he got drafted, I was like, maybe this can be a Luke Kuechly type of guy. Nah, he gets after it, but he's just not what I thought he was. But he's pretty solid. Alexander Johnson, another one, 124 tackles. He's good in run support. Had 115 blitzes last year. His fourth season in the NFL. Another linebacker that's not good as far as covering tight ends, especially when you're in a division, you playing Travis Kelce and Darren Waller, and then you're matched up against all these other tight ends. It's not good because you don't have that matchup to matchup that can cover, and now it's going to be a lot of mismatches. But now I think that's going to be a lot better because we'll get to that in a minute. Jonas Griffith, who we got from San Francisco, I think he's going to be used more as a special teams player. Von Miller going into year number 11. 106 sacks in his career. Since the Super Bowl year, 2016, he had 13.5 sacks. In 2017, he had 10 sacks. In 2018, he had 14.5 sacks. 88 blitzes, 35 pressures. In 2019, he had 8 sacks, 52 blitzes, 37 pressures, and he was injured going into the regular season last year. I believe it was like the last preseason game, or it was like the week before the season, and then he went out. Not even the preseason game because there wasn't a preseason game last year, but I think he just. It was like 1 week before the season started, and something happened with his ankle. He was out for the season. I was pissed. But After that, so hopefully Vaughn can have a bounce back year, maybe a comeback player of the year type of year. Um, Andre Mintz going into his rookie year, and Natrez Patrick, who we picked up last year late. Um, Malik Reed, who blossomed last year, he had 33 pressures, 8 sacks, 53 tackles. He had 24 blitzes. He played 16 games. He started 13. Curtis Robinson, 44 tackles in 2020, 64 tackles in 2019. And Justin Sternot, who I thought was going to be good. He got injured last year. He had 105 tackles in 2018. He played 13 games. He played 7 games in 2019. He had 69 tackles. I think he's going to be one of those players that like gets after it, and he could be a help to our Travis Kelce, Darren Waller situation and covering the tight ends. He's pretty quick, sideline to sideline. I'm hoping instead of making a trade later on this year for a linebacker, that he could be that linebacker that we need, just develop into one. But I definitely see good things out of this kid. And then we got Barrington Wade, another rookie, at the linebacker spot. So those things can definitely help you out. Cornerback spot, Usain Bassi, who's still injured, coming off of the ACL, going to year number 2. Bryce Callahan, one of the best slot receivers in the league last year, I believe top 3 according to PFF. He was targeted 57 times, completed against 31 times for a 54.4 completion percentage. That is awesome. In 2017, in 2017, 2018, and 2020 altogether, he had 6 interceptions. 2019, he didn't play. He had the foot injury. He had 42 tackles last year. Ronald Darby, another corner, 98 targets, 53 completions against, 54 completion percentage. He had 16 pass deflections and 55 tackles with Washington last year. Duke Dawson, who's currently injured also. Kyle Fuller, who had a 55 completion percentage. He was targeted 83 times, 46 completed against, 65 tackles last year. Played 16 games. So I definitely like Kyle. I always like Kyle Fuller anyway. And him following Vic Fangio where he had his best seasons at. Love it. Just pray for healthiness. Nate Harrison, depth player, going to year number 5. Mike Ford, who we just picked up from Detroit, he's going into year number 4. More than likely probably be on the practice squad. Michael Ojemudia, who he was a rookie last year. He played like a rookie, but he also held his own. He was completion percentage of 61. He had 88 targets against him, 54 completions against him, 62 tackles. So he definitely held his own. He was definitely used and abused, but you know what? He'll be okay. And then Kerry Vincent, a rookie who we just picked up, he had 6 interceptions in 3 years. Patrick Surtain is the one that I'm looking forward to. A big physical corner. He had an interception, a pick 6 in the preseason. And it just got me real excited about this kid, man. I believe he can play multiple positions. He can be, you can use him in the slot. You can definitely use him out wide. And he could be that solution to the Travis Kelce and the Darren Waller situation, also as well as other situations. But I'm very excited to have Patrick Surtain. He can definitely play multiple positions, man. It's just exciting. I'm just praying for healthiness this year. In the safety spot, Kareem Jackson, career high 89 tackles last year. He missed 11 tackles though. So he's going into year number 12. They let him go. And then they brought him back on a 1-year deal. This more than likely will be his last year. He's stepping into year number 12. So this will probably be his last year. But I'm hoping that he plays so hard that they sign him at least to another 1-year deal. He's going into year number 12. So when you're getting at that stage of your career, like it's almost over. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of life left after that. But I'm hoping he can prove the doubters wrong. Whether he goes somewhere else or whether he stays in Denver, I just hope his career keeps going. He is physical. I remember uh he knocked out AJ Bouye. I believe it was in the Atlanta game, and it was going to sideline to sideline. Well, it was over here. The play, he was basically over here, but then it's like he tracked whoever it was, and he was going in for the tackle, and of course he went head first, so he knocked AJ Bouye out of the game just because his physical ability, man. I love Kareem Jackson even when he was with Houston. So you got that there, and then you got Jamar Johnson, a rookie. PJ Locke, I like as a depth piece going to year number 2. And Justin Simmons, who with three straight years of 90-plus tackles. He's also a ball hawk in his right. Going to year number 6. Caden Stern, he's definitely a top 5 safety, by the way. Caden Stearns, a rookie that we picked up. Special teams, we got Brandon McManus going into year number 8, and McManus has not been McManus here lately. Inside the 20s last year, he was 6 for 6. Inside the 30s, he was 4 for 5. Inside the 40s, he was 8 for 8. And 50 plus, that's where he took most of his opportunities. He was 10 for 15. That's one thing I like about Brandon McManus. He will kick a 50 plus yarder. He will kick a 60 yarder if you give him the opportunity. All in all, he was 28 to 34. 28 to 34. That was an 82%. He's definitely had higher. So hopefully that will get better this year. And in the extra points, he was 24, 27, and that's an 88%. With the draft picks for this team, I noticed like the last couple of episodes I have completely forgot all about it. Round 1, we got Patrick Surtain going to his rookie year. That was round 1. Round 2, we traded up to get Javonte Williams, running back out of North Carolina. Round 3, we picked up Quinn Myers, a guard out of Wisconsin, Whitewater. Round 3, Baron Browning out of Ohio State. Round 5, Caden Stearns, safety out of Texas, who I feel real good about. Jamar Johnson, safety out of Indiana, also round 5. Round 6, Seth Williams, wide receiver out of Auburn. Round 7, we had 3 7-round picks. Kerry Vincent, cornerback out of LSU. I think we got a little good value out of him. Jonathan Cooper, another good value, defensive end out of Ohio State. Now, granted, the fact that he played against low-level talent, I still think that he can come in and contribute, whether it's a depth piece or whether somebody goes out. I just hope that he can develop into something special, because he definitely was something special in preseason. And then Marquise Spencer, another round 7 pick, defensive end out of Mississippi State. First 5 games for this team: at the Giants, at the Jags, at home against the Jets, at home against the Ravens, and at the Steelers. I definitely see this maybe as a 4-1, maybe a 3-2 type of team in the first 5 games. The Giants is pretty tricky because they got a defense, and it just all depends on how Daniel Jones does. With the Jags, I think we can squeak that one out. With the Jets, I think we can squeak that one out. The Ravens will probably be pretty tough, but I think that'll be a little bit more of a defensive game, and as well as the Steelers, I think that'll be a defensive game also. So with this team, I think this year is all on the running back position. Still looking at the defense, hoping that the run game can come about, hoping that the receivers can also come about, and hoping that the offensive line can hold up. That's all with this team. And if everything is clicking on all cylinders, no, we didn't get Aaron Rodgers, no, we didn't get Deshaun Watson, but with everything else that's going on with this team, we really don't need them. Only thing we need to do is beat Denver. So hopefully that changes this year, man. This is Larry Patterson for GT365. That's Game Time 365 Sports, live here on the GTSN. That's the Game Time Sports Network. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do that. It's Game Time Sports Network. And if you have not liked the Facebook page, Game Time Sports Network, go ahead and do that, man. It doesn't cost anything. Until